Hello, my loves. So I wanted to let you know I'm going to be posting a free Nourishing the Nervous System 35-minute meditation session. I literally just recorded it, but I'm trying a few new things. For those of you that have been here with me for a while, you guys know when I do my recorded sessions, you usually see me. But since this is going deeper into supporting the nervous system, I thought it might be nice to just have a nice video background of some gentle bubbles as well as some music. But I also know sometimes music can be supportive, and for some people, it's a distraction. So I'm going to be uploading two versions, one with music, one without. Those will probably be coming out in the next hour or two. They're literally just uploading as we speak. So you can be on the lookout for that. I'm very happy with what came through. It was really a deep connection to Source and Mother Earth and a deep nourishment and support for the nervous system, the physical body, the emotional body, the mental body, and the spiritual body. And so I was actually guided to also create a four-part series to go deeper for any of you who enjoy the session and want to go deeper. That's going to be available starting this week. In fact, you can register now. I'm offering this for a one-time payment, or you can pay it over a few months. I'm doing it at only $77 as a gift to you for this end of year support. And it just feels like I really want to get this series out to more of you. That's also why I'm doing the free session for those of you who are not in a position to do the series, but really could use the support. And we're just going to let this flow out over this month. I'm going to share a new session each week for those of you who do register for the series. And I'm sure here on YouTube, I'm going to be sharing supportive messages and tips on how to support and soothe your nervous system. Because I'm sure, as many of you know, yes, our nervous system is connected to our emotions, but it absolutely is very deeply connected to our physical body and what our physical body is experiencing or has experienced, survival mechanisms, protective mechanisms, past ancestral trauma or past life or collective traumas that we feel in our energetic systems. So we're just going to go deeper into supporting that. And of course, for those of you who do know me, this is a big part of what I love to do, creating more and more space for you to embody deeper into your body, onto the earth, to support feeling stable, safe, and present so that you can flourish, right? So nourish to flourish. It feels so good. I know in the Northern Hemisphere, we're moving into winter, but it feels so beautiful to support this deeper healing and nourishment so that you can flourish and prepare to move through the seasons. Okay. So I'm looking forward to this, and I'm absolutely in the space to do it. So I hope you enjoy it. With that, I would just love to hear from you guys. If there's specific things or videos or topics you would like me to speak about connected to nourishing the nervous system or working through trauma patterns or anything like that, please put those in the pinned comments. I know we've been on this very deep stream with the collective, and I myself have worked very, very deeply on my own nervous system as someone who has recovered, I feel recovered from CPTSD. Of course, there's moments and experiences where energies come up, triggers come up. This is part of the experience here as we're healing deeper. But I've learned so many ways to acknowledge and work with the triggers and be present with myself and work through those. So I'd be happy to share what I have learned and what I'm still continuing to learn as we move forward. But yeah, anyway, just thought I'd put that out there because I also know there's some newer people that are connecting here on Harmonious Hearts. And yeah, I don't know. I'm looking forward. There's feels like something very soothing and comforting about moving into the end of this year. This opportunity that we have to nurture and nourish ourselves. And like I spoke about, really even writing down or brainstorming your creation ideas, but you may not feel that it's just quite time to take action yet in the physical world. So that's why this energy felt really good to me. It's like, what can we do? What can we support? What can we nurture as we're completing out the year, as we're completing out a lot of those old karmic patterns, as Saturn is stationing direct. This has been so in the forefront of my mind, really feeling into the next weeks and months of really embodying into what we've been learning and more deeply clearing out those patterns through our embodiment. So, not only in the energies and in our meditation, but through our lived experiences and how we participate in the world and how we choose to interact. So, all right, let's see what wants to come through. I'm just going to open up, so whatever you see from here in the title, I will add in as part of this, whatever wants to come through. We have perfect storm, the courage to step into life. So with this, it's actually taking me into the energies that we have been feeling. And it does feel interconnected with this nervous system energy for both feminines and masculines, whoever is connected here. But what's coming through, I want to give this a bit of space because this we've been talking about the lightning and the electricity lately, which to me is like this, what it feels like in the energies is like where the nervous system is that electrical center, right, of our being. It's where our soul essence embodies, it's where our physical body interprets our experiences, the sensations, the physical experience, the emotional, the mental, the spiritual is all deeply connected to the nervous system. And our nervous system being healed or healing and healthy is a very intricate and important piece of that deeper embodiment of our soul essence. And a lot of times, what we see in our world when people are um, awakening or opening their heart, opening spiritually, as many of you, I'm sure, know through your initiation, your dark night of the soul, when everything is opening, it reveals all of this beautiful, gorgeous energy, and you're feeling what it feels like for your higher self to be more embodied. But then it also, as it's opening, is bringing up the old traumas or pains, right? This is what a lot of the separation is when the masculine and feminines go into those separation energies. And that's the opportunity to deepen into dissolving the traumas, unraveling them ancestrally, past life, collective, this life experience. And again, creating, when you're unraveling and dissolving that, it's creating more space for your energy and essence to land in your body, to be more present, right? And so for the feminines here, we've talked about this. I'm sure you've heard like the feminines tend to be in the higher chakras. Well, this is about healing the nervous system, dissolving and resolving the trauma all the way down into the roots, into the lower chakras, because that's where a lot of the trauma is stored. So, for the divine feminines present, a big part of your purpose, and I'm sure you're already working on this, is about embodying more deeply into the roots, into those lower chakras. But obviously, it's also bringing up those energies, those discomforts, the traumas, the things that your ancestors or you in other lives or in this life ran from, or places and spaces where things were frozen. Maybe those energy centers were just frozen and you never even knew it, right? So you just were never able to fully land all the way into your roots, into your body. This is actually a very common thing that I see, not only with feminines, but with masculines alike. And of course, I'm an energy person, so I'm going to speak to you about this from my experience. But an example of what I've seen with people who feel like they say, for an example, they have ADHD or those anxious tendencies. From an energetic standpoint, a lot of times what I find is that, especially kids or adults who haven't gone into deeper healing just yet, they're that part of that hyperactivity or the disorientation or feeling ungrounded is where they're trying to get into their body, but they're hitting the information where the ancestors were dissociated or bypassing or where they froze trauma. So this information is frozen in the system before we're even born. Okay. So again, of course, this is an energetic perspective, but also something that I feel you can intend to ask to thaw. It's something that I work on in my recorded sessions and my one-on-one sessions. And I'm sure if you're here with me, many of you have some levels of experience with this, but it feels like what I'm sensing and why we're being guided to take this deeper is the more that we are embodied, the more stable we are, the more steady we are in our presence, the more we're able to hold space for ourselves, for the collective, and of course, for the masculine connection, because so many of the divine feminines, the sacred feminines, have been going through this embodiment process, facing the shadows and embodying more deeply into herself and her standards. Over, especially over the last 5 years. I know that this is not only limited to that, but on a very large collective planetary scale, the feminines are going through a massive have been going through a massive transformation, and many are landing more stably and more steady. But as we keep working with these energies and strengthening into them, of course, it creates a stronger space for us, but it also creates this stronger capacity to be able to receive more downloads. And also, when we're looking at it in terms of the counterparts and the masculine and feminines, the masculine is the electric energy. So, as the feminine is more stable, sort of like that lightning rod, she's able to receive the true, full masculine presence in her world in a way that doesn't distract from her own individual being, right? So she doesn't have to give up who she is to match with the masculine. The masculine doesn't have to give up who he is to match with the feminine. They're both able to hold those energies internally within themselves. But also, a lot of times, these separations happened. Why? Because of shared trauma, shared um, experiences, or also, most importantly, these pockets that were unknown to you, or these energies that were unknown to you, and you both didn't have the skill set to work through those. But this is what you have been gaining, right? So, anywhere you can strengthen into supporting your nervous system physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually is going to strengthen your resilience in all of your energies so that you can hold stable with your connection with yourself as it's going through more of this evolution and transformation, especially as we are moving into 2026, which really significantly feels like a huge opening for the masculine collective's transformation. And I'm feeling this quite significantly. And this card, of course, is really bringing me to the heart space, the crow's heart space, and this activation of the energy centers, of how they interact with our nervous system, and how we can strengthen and steady ourselves even when there's more information coming in. So, any of you who have had awareness around the solar flares that we've been experiencing over these last few years, that's been also training your nervous system to receive higher light codes and to be able to ground and embody those. Well, it's very similar between the counterparts and the activation that they bring for one another. All right, I'm guided to go into a few more messages. What else can we bring in around this? What will be beneficial for those of you here with me to know? I do feel when I'm touching into this, I do feel on the masculine side some like cloudiness. I feel so for those of you with me, masculine or feminine, working with your internal masculine energies, because those are our protective energies, right? Those are the energies that seek stability, safety, and security. So it feels like if we can work with opening and supporting our internal masculine energies in a way that feels safe and stable, but simultaneously allows for expansion, this feels very supportive for the masculine collective in general because when our masculine energies are in fear or trauma, what they do is withdraw and go smaller, right? Close things off, shut things down, freeze, wall, run, protect, right? But when we're in a healing masculine energy or healed masculine energy, we have the capacity to be safe, to be present, and to stay stable even within circumstances that may have otherwise in the past made us feel afraid or we didn't have the muscle to handle it. Now, of course, if you are in actual physical legitimate danger, by all means, run, wall, freeze, do what you have to do, right? We're talking about the emotional components or the components where your life is not actually in danger, but your system is reacting in a way that feels like you want to protect, you want to run, you want to hide, you want to disappear, you want to avoid at all costs, right? So if any of those energies are coming up, one of the ways that you can retrain your nervous system is to immediately, of course, get yourself safe, have a conversation with yourself. Okay, am I actually in danger? And if the answer is no, then you sit with yourself without frustration or anger, just simply, okay, what is it that is happening? What are you feeling? What do you need? And maybe where is this coming from? And maybe something will come up right away and maybe it won't. But part of what you can do is just give it some space to say, okay, look it, I get it. We don't, my system doesn't know why it wants to shut down or wall off or run. That could be some ancestral stuff or some information that's still frozen. So you can set the intention that you would like to thought, you would like to reveal it so that you can strengthen into your capacity to be present with things that are uncomfortable without needing to run. And simultaneously, learning to build trust with yourself that you will take care of yourself. You will support yourself. You will provide safety for yourself. And as I'm saying this, this feels like a big, important part because many of us, men and women, masculine, feminine, however you identify, human beings in general, I would say probably everyone has had some form of an experience where something didn't feel quite right, but you were either too young or you didn't have the information required to provide and protect yourself. Maybe you had an adult or a parent or a teacher or someone else who was guiding you and who was meant to protect you and care for you, and maybe they were not able to do so and you had to participate or be a part of something that you would not have chosen if you were mature or old enough to protect yourself. So it also feels important that you drop into connecting with forgiving that part of yourself because sometimes we have these areas in our systems where we don't even realize we don't trust ourselves or we haven't forgiven ourselves for participating or being a part of something that wasn't safe or that we wouldn't have done if we were mature or old enough to make a better decision. But this is where the forgiveness and reparenting is really important because now you are old enough and aware enough and mature enough to care for yourself. So you can bring the results of who you are now into those past traumas. And yes, I'm speaking about this almost like I'm talking about a kid, but in all truth, the same thing was occurring when you were in your soul merge with your divine counterpart, when the trauma started coming up, when the discomforts came up, when you went into separation or discomfort with one another. That was because you were opening a pocket where you didn't have the tools just yet. Okay, but you've been learning them. So you can bring it to those places and spaces and start to retrain your nervous system to rely on you because now you are trustworthy and you do have the skills to protect and care for yourself. And again, making sure you're forgiving yourself for the past experiences. You can't know what you don't know until you know it. And you did the best that you could with what you had, right? And what you're doing to prove that to yourself is you are learning new ways. You're learning how to provide yourself. You're learning how to care for yourself. You're learning how to love yourself and to hold standards and boundaries for yourself. And all of those things, every time you go through a round of that, you are deepening into your capacity to receive more. Okay. But there's no rush. This is the beautiful part of it. Nourishing the nervous system, working with clearing those past traumas, especially for those of you who have been on this journey for quite some time and you've been working with this and it's going deeper. This is where you're hitting those deeper inner union energies. It's where you're hitting those pockets in the collective that have been untouched, not just for a lifetime, for generations, for centuries. So there's not something wrong with you that there's more to work on. It means your capacity has expanded for deeper levels of healing and embodiment. And if those are still present for you, then just know that you're getting deeper and deeper and more embodied. And these energies will support your connection. They'll support you and they will support the collective on our planet because a healed and healing nervous system is a very, very powerful tool for higher self embodiment. All right, my loves, I said I was going to pick more. Let's do that real quick. Let's see what wanted to come through. I know I just kept going. I guess there was more with this that wanted to come through than I realized. Okay. Wow. Okay. So we have this Two of Pentacles, and this feels like where new parts of your stream, your connection to source, your pillar of light, your nervous system, right? From the root to the crown is a portion that's your nervous system. That is the part of your chakra system that connects more deeply to your higher self and your connection to the earth. And this feels like that part, this expansion, this opening that is ready to occur. Oh, wow. Now I know why this is coming through. Last week, I think it was last week or 2 weeks ago, we spoke about how the feminines were ready to come into more of themselves. And I'm feeling this quite deeply. Yes, of course, you have transformed multiple times, and now you're ready for a deeper state of embodiment, a deeper connection to source in your higher self, and a deeper presence into your physical body. And it does feel like through, okay, it's like the deeper we embody into the body and into the earth, the higher we can expand. The more you're present, the more you're connected. Just like, a tree. Like the nervous system, right? The nervous system looks very much like a tree. So the more grounded we are into the nervous system, into the body, the higher we can connect, the more information we can receive and embody. Okay. And we have this Five of Pentacles and Three of Swords. And what I'm sensing is where some of the residual pains or griefs within your body, but also within your connection, especially that the masculine side had froze. So if you think of this as one system between the masculine and feminine, the shared system, the feminine goes into the dark night of the soul, the masculine freezes. The masculine freezes to protect the system, my loves, because there's only so much trauma and pain that can be handled by the physical body at once, especially when you haven't learned the skills to actually cope with that level of triggering. But this is what you've been working on. So, as you've been working on it, those traumas and those patterns have been opening because now you can get to those, right? And what this feels like is actually where the feminines have reached this midpoint where she's pretty stable with it and deepening into it. And it's opening in a different way for the masculines, where they were frozen to protect themselves and to protect the feminine and protect the system, is now able to thaw out. So it's like getting, it's against our natural nature to go into the pain to get the keys. But for any of you who've been through this, you know how true it is, right? Once we face the fear and the pain, we get the gifts and then we can move forward, right? The human nature is to avoid, or at least what's been set up in the past was to avoid, to freeze, to wall. So that is everything that you're helping to thaw and clean up and clear out, which is quite a big feat, given that so many people do their best to avoid this. And you have been that brave pioneer to volunteer and go within it to help heal it for yourself, for the collective, for the counterpart connection. Okay. So this is being acknowledged, and it does feel like a deeper representation of like the more stable and steady the feminine has become within her triggers, the more now is safe to open for the masculine so he can work through his part in new and deeper ways as well. All right, my loves, I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to put my information in the pinned comment for one-on-one sessions. I'm going to put a link to my website to register for the 4-part series of Nourishing the Nervous System. And I will make sure that you also have access to the free meditation session that, again, should be up and on the channel within the next hours, if not sooner. It really just depends on how long it takes to upload. All right, my loves. Hope you're having a beautiful day, and I will see you soon. Much love. Peace. Take care.